Hi, Billy. Hi, Dave. And I think Eva's there somewhere, but hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, good to meet you, Renee.
You as well.
Right. So we're live on internet. We're live on Facebook, I meant. And anybody who joins here. So I think we'll start off with a quick round of introductions as we always do. So who wants to start off first, and then we'll get Renee at the end.
Sure. Dave Owens here. I'm Vice Chair of the Arts Advisory Committee. And I'm also on the San Ramon Arts Foundation, which Sabina is also on. Resident of San Ramon as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Billy Hurley here, resident of San Ramon. I am on the San Ramon Transportation Advisory Committee, and I also represent San Ramon on the Contra Costa Transit Authority Citizens Advisory Committee.
Hi, I'm Eva Harris. I'm a resident of San Ramon, and I'm more or less just a volunteer for Sabina's team, communication team.
Well, you do a lot more in the community. And just, I want to welcome Renee Morgan, the mayor of the town of Danville. We were also going to have Melissa Hernandez join us, who's the mayor of Dublin, but she had to attend a community event in her community for hate against Asian lives, which some young students were organizing. So she couldn't join us, but that's the reality of our offices, right? It's some of these things happen on the fly. I also see Sarah join. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, sure thing. My name is Sarah. I am a resident of the city of San Ramon, obviously, and I also am a new member of the Innovation and Technology Advisory Committee. So I'm really excited to be getting more involved with the city and everything that's going on. And I'm really excited to be here today and listen to all these incredible women leaders in the area talk. Thank you so much, Councilmember Zafar.
Thank you, Sarah. And obviously, you know, one of our goals for having, and I started these kind of community conversations, Renee, to give you a background, and I'm sure you have as well, something similar, is how do we engage with residents? How do we, you know, outside of City Hall and outside of everything that we're doing, how do we create, you know, a space where we can have some conversations, talk to local leaders, really help people learn about what's going on, what are some of the things we're doing. And you're such an amazing partner. And for a lot of our residents, you know, it's a blurry line between San Ramon and Danville and Dublin and Pleasanton as they cross, you know, kind of what I like to say, the city lines to really eat, dine, play, bike, all those fun things. So would love to, you know, one, celebrating you as an amazing woman leader in our community during Women's History Month, and really would love to hear, you know, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your journey, and really want to get to know you today.
Well, Sabina, I so appreciate that. And first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me on the program today. This is a great opportunity to showcase what it means to be a community leader. And Sabina, you're doing such a great job. So I want to thank you once again for putting this whole program together. I think it's amazing. I started my journey with the town of Danville almost 17 years ago as a planning commissioner. And I ended up being on Historic Design Review and Heritage Resource as well. After being on that for about 8 years, I decided to go ahead and run for council. Very contentious race. We had a lot of things going on in Danville. As most of you know, when somebody decides to build anything in Danville, it becomes a major issue. And so I ended up going from the frying pan into the fire. We ended up with our general plan and our housing element and everything else to add to it when I first got onto the council. I've been on the town council now. This will be my 9th year. I just ran for re-election and obviously won, which is, you know, I thank the town for that. And this is my 2nd term as mayor.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I think we met when I was running a few years back, introduced through our common friend, Linda, and she's like, okay, you and Renee have to connect. And you know, I've learned so much from you. I've kind of followed you. We've been on some of the committees together, like what is it? We're on Street Smarts and Traffics.
Traffics, yes.
Traffics is a big one. And you are now the chair of Traffics.
In July. In July. Yeah, so we rotate as, I guess it's with the fiscal year we rotate, so.
Yeah. So would you like to share a little bit about Traffics and what it is? I know a lot of people see the buses, they don't know what that really means or where it comes from.
You know, there's so many, I think that to start off by saying there's so many little facets of what makes a community whole. And that's one of them. Traffics is the bus system that people use to get their children to and from school. The program actually started as a traffic relief program because there were so many cars on the road trying to get their kids to school. And the roads were really congested early in the morning and when kids were being picked up. So they started the Traffics bus system, which is Traffics to fix traffic. And that's what we do. And you and I have both been on there during the times where the buses were running freely and we had school in session. Now we've had to completely pivot and do a complete turnaround because we haven't had school. And we had to figure out, we're a business, we're a JPEG, so we're an organization where we have various different entities that play a part in this, including the county. And the interesting thing about that is we had to figure out how, when school starts back again, how are we going to get these kids to school and have bus drivers ready to go? So we were able to do that. And now we have our bus systems back up and running again to all of the schools. You know, San Ramon Valley Unified School District is what it is. And a lot of people confuse it as thinking it's the school district's buses, but it's actually our buses that, and if you look on the side, it should say Traffics on the side of them. There are some buses that go to and from the schools that are from the school district, but these buses are a partnership between San Ramon, the county, San Ramon, Danville, and as well as, we've got Alamo in there, but we don't have a representation because they don't have elected officials. And we also have, various different entities that play a part, the school district as well.
Yeah. And then the other thing, right? It's not all the schools that we are able to offer this bus service. We really pick, schools that need this the most in terms of students that want to take those bus services, in terms of offering that congestion relief, because we do have limited funds. It was certainly a surprise when I moved to San Ramon 16 years ago from Arizona, where bus services were provided by schools. And I'm like, where's the bus service here? And why can't my kids, have a bus service? So, this is funded. This is, money coming from different, like you said, because of a partnership with different entities, as well as some funding from the county and tax dollars that we're able to utilize. And it was very interesting during COVID, where we wanted to make sure we didn't lose the drivers and the buses, but we weren't, every week was, when will schools open up? And when schools open up, students are going to want, some families are going to want to send their students on buses for, because that's important to them, or that's the need of the family. And so, it's been wonderful serving with you on that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and having a 33-year-old daughter and having an 18-year-old son, I have quite the spread between the two. Yeah, I know I'm crazy. Don't ask me about that question. But my kids are so far in distance apart in when they went to school that when my daughter went to school, they offered buses from the schools, and we were able to pay for her pass to go on there if she wanted to ride the bus. Whereas my son, when he went, it was Traffic's program. So it was very similar to the Arizona situation, but we had to figure out a way to make it more efficient. But you and I serve on so many different programs together, so many different commissions together, and outreach and all of that. Just going to the mayor's conference, having that opportunity to meet with other people to see how they run their communities and how efficient they are. It's really, to me, it's very interesting to see how we're kind of like on that niche of 680, where are we Tri-Valley? Are we Contra Costa? It's that fine line between Alameda County, Contra Costa County, and we're kind of like lost in between there somehow. So we really have to advocate
Yeah.
or what goes on. You know, they always talk about I find it interesting when we have our Tri-Valley's mayor's meeting versus Contra Costa. You know, Tri-Valley is always advocating for 580, 680 interchange and all that, and trying to relieve congestion. And then you have, you know, the cities north of us that are advocating for their traffic and their congestion relief. And, you know, you've got people on here right now that are with transportation that can totally understand this. You know, when they did that overpass in Walnut Creek, the 24/680, they put that pillar directly in the middle. And at one point, I mean, I've lived here long enough to see when they actually shut that down and had to redo it. And the thought process, I'm not quite sure from an architectural standpoint, it didn't make sense to me. But now we have to work around that and try to get congestion relief down here because it does affect us. And we always think that, well, Alameda County or 580 doesn't affect us, or, you know, 680 24 interchange doesn't affect us, or BART doesn't affect us. But there's a lot of our you know, residents that utilize those services and or go on those particular routes that will relieve congestion in our communities as well.
Yeah, that's true. We're kind of the last mile. You know, we're trying to solve that problem, but we don't want to be taken out of the equation either.
Right.
And that's so true, right? We're kind of at the south end of the county. Our demographics are, you know, the county's 19 cities up and down 680, and you know, we have very similar demographics. Whereas, you know, the rest of the county has different demographics. So advocacy for us is even more important as a Tri-Valley, and, you know, working together because our residents do have different needs.
They do.
And, you know, sometimes the rest of the county.
Absolutely.
Which brings me to the COVID rollout and the vaccine rollout, and something interesting that Supervisor Anderson mentioned during our city updates was that Danville's you know, Danville was getting a lot more people vaccinated, and San Ramon was really far behind. Like Danville was 50% something, and San Ramon was 38. And so she was very surprised, and she looked at, you know, she's like, you know, it's the education is there, the affluence and all of that. Turns out our population is much younger in San Ramon compared to Danville. So what she saw was that the 38%, almost 98% were actually vaccinated, but our average age in San Ramon is 39. So in essence, you know, we haven't fallen in the category of where we can start getting vaccinated.
Are you trying to rub that in right now and make me feel really old, or what? What's
No, so I you know,
really old right now.
So I mean that does play, you know, on the community and how long people have lived. Obviously, San Ramon, and you know, we've looked at this. San Ramon has grown tremendously in the last 20 years with Doherty Valley. And although Doherty Valley is not in Danville, again, Danville is part of the, you know, the Doherty Valley committee as well, where we decide, you know, how Doherty Valley was built out and everything. So how do you see, you know, what have you seen in your community around vaccination? I think you did something with the fire chief as well. And how's that rolling out? And, you know, what's the response in Danville?
You know, it's a mixed, you know, bunch there, because, you know, I have to tell you, I got my vaccine. I sit on the board with San Ramon Regional Medical Center. And when they had extra vaccines, they said, hey, you know, if we have extras, you know, I'm home because my dogs are barking. When, you know, we have extra vaccines, and we're just going to basically, you know, when they open one up and they have 9 in a container, and they say, we're just going to throw them away if you don't come and get your shot. So I went down and got it, and I offered it to my husband, and I offered it to as well to my son to come with, and neither one of them wanted to do it. They both were not at that point yet where they believed, and I know, coming from an elected official, I shouldn't be saying that out loud, but it's the truth. That's how they felt. And for me, it was something that I thought I needed to do, not just for myself, but for the community. Well, You know, there is that saying that says, you know, give it to politicians first and medical workers second, because if something bad happens, we can stand to lose some politicians. So I assume that something bad happened, people would probably be happy because they lost one of the politicians. But anyways, let's not go there. But for me, it was, I wanted to do it because I wanted to know, first of all, the side effects. I wanted to be able to tell people about it. But my husband and my son did not want to do it. And so for people that are leery of getting it, I say now that I've had mine, get it. Go out there, get that shot. When I had the last town talks that I had, that you're speaking of, Sabina, sometime back now, it's usually the first Friday of every month. So the first Friday of this past month, you know, I spoke to our health director, and I spoke to Paige Meyer, and I spoke to Ann, who is the CEO of the hospital. And I asked him, I said, what are your, you know, your rates, and what are people saying? Why don't they want to get it done? And it's because of all the media hype, you know, telling people, oh, you know, you're going to grow a third eye or something. So people were afraid to go out and get the shot. I mean, my son told me he read an article that said somebody lost their arm, had to have it amputated. I said, oh, come on, you know, so seriously, this is what the media is telling people. So I think that's the fear. It's not the vaccine itself, because if people actually go out there, I feel better now when I go into a grocery store, or if I go somewhere, I still use my mask and I still do everything I'm supposed to do, but I feel more protected. And so it's a sense of, you know, sense of confidence. It's a sense of being able to go out and know that I'm not infecting somebody. And I think that's the thing for me as well, is I don't want to be asymptomatic and then get other people sick. But the rollout itself in Danville, I mean, it's been fantastic. We've had an opportunity to get our people out there to really promote it. Listening to our, you know, our county health director, he has made it very clear that, you know, right now, the bad thing is, and I say this with all honesty, is when people don't get it and our numbers keep going up, then we as a county are being punished in a sense, right? Because your people are doing the right thing. You know, Danville's doing the right thing. We're all doing what we're supposed to do, maintaining our distance and all that. But then when you have areas of population that don't want to get vaccinated, and they're eligible, right? That's the hard part, because what happens now is then they get it, or their numbers go up, and we are based on those numbers. We're in that one ball together. And so then it starts to shut us down. And so that's the hardest part for me to explain to constituents, is it's not like you said, you know, San Ramon and Danville, there's a fence line basically, and you're there. People come into our community, they end up getting sick someplace else. They come here, they infect us here. So we all need to do our part. And now with 2 weeks from now, 16 and over, anybody is eligible, go out and get your vaccine. Go out and get your vaccine. And according to the health director, it's not like a flu shot, the variants as they were talking about, where, you know, you have to get a different one. If you get the flu shot, it might not protect you this time. This is different. It doesn't mutate like a flu would mutate. So everybody should go out and get their shots.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you sharing, right, how your family felt about it. Very similarly, like even between my mom and dad, my dad was, you know, jumping on it, but my mom, who's a cancer survivor, was afraid, because she's like, what if something, she'd already been through so much. And then she's like,
Sure.
what if something happens? And so talking about the science behind it, having her talk to a couple of doctors who explained to her, because people think the vaccine just came out of nowhere as well, right? That's been the perception. And really talking about the science behind it has helped people understand that no, it's actually building upon a lot of research, which was happening for years and years. And that's how it's come about. So I have finally qualified as part of emergency service workers as a council member. So I am getting my shot at DVC on Wednesday.
Good.
Looking forward to it. My daughter's already gotten it because she was working, she's 18, but she was working at Whole Foods. So she was frontline. My son got a call saying, you know, there's some extra vaccines available. You want to come and get it? And he got it. So I'm the last in the family to get it, but I'm looking forward to it. Be able to do more. I think feel better that, I'm not going to be out there infecting people, like you said. But yes, I mean, and like you said, again, in 2 weeks, it's going to be open to everybody. Funny enough, I don't know if it's funny or not for everybody, but a colleague of mine said this is like a Hunger Games experiment, right? People who want to go get it are just, trying to jump the line, do whatever they can, drive 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes to get it. But, I think there's those two sides of the coin where people just want to get it or people don't want to get it.
That's right. And it's also availability, Sabina, I mean, a lot of it has been availability. I mean, they had, 30,000 people that were backlogged trying to get a shot. And that's the unfortunate part, because there are people out there that want to get it and they can't because of availability. So now they're stepping that up, and hopefully now with the Johnson & Johnson and it being just a one shot, the vaccine ability to vaccinate more people will be there as well. So that's a good thing.
And Marcia just joined, so I would love for Marcia to take a minute to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Hi, mayors. Sabina, thank you for inviting me. I'm Marcia Galanco, been a long-time community member in the San Ramon Valley. I met all of you, actually, most of you. And I just came in and listening to you are talking about the COVID vaccination. And this afternoon is my second dose. And yeah, I actually, I live in Alamo, been a long time resident. So we don't have the so-called political leaders taking care of us. But very, since I'm very active in the community, I find out all kinds of things. But I'm surprised that I registered to the county to get a schedule for vaccination, but I never got it. A friend of mine a month ago told me about CVS, and I registered. I got my first dose a month ago, and then now the second dose. So I'm just curious. I know a lot of people who live in my area still not able to schedule, even though the age-wise is qualified. And I know I'm in Alamo, but still would like to get some information for friends of mine who are not fortunate enough to get vaccination.
So you can actually go on the county's website, and the recommendation is now that, you just try at all the outlets, CVS, Sutter Health, I think there is Walgreens, there's Rite Aid. So it's kind of, and I'm hoping somebody will write an AI where it can go and hit all the open spots, and then you can find which one to go to. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. And if someone has one, please do share. I'd be interested. But that's what the county is recommending as well, that since there's, Kaiser, everybody's got, different outlets, John Muir. So have them go to the county website. They can get direct links to these, and, whichever one they find the first appointment for. I actually, when I found out that I now qualified, I went and did the same thing. I found an appointment at Sutter in Alameda County Fairgrounds, actually. And then I got a notification from the county, so I canceled that and took the DVC one. Renee, anything you would like to add to it?
Marcia, thank you so much for going out and get your vaccine. Which one, may I ask you, did you get?
Moderna.
Moderna. Okay, that's the one I got as well. So here's also another tip. I would say, right now the allocations of the shots has not been as readily available as it is now. So I would definitely recommend that everybody get onto all that, the different, platforms of trying to get the shot. Also go on to San Ramon Valley Fire Protection District, because they are also doing the shots. And I believe one of their shot routes where you go through is in San Ramon. And they have an area that you can sign up, and they will actually call you as well, as if they have any shots left over, they can get you in. But once you get your first shot, you're guaranteed to get your second. So you won't have an issue getting your second shot. It's just a matter of where they send you to get it. But for all your friends that want to get it, and especially now the 16 and over that are going to be able to get it in 2 weeks from now, once you sign up, you're in the system and they'll definitely give you a call. It's just, it's not about the shot itself and it's about the availability of the vaccine. And that's what they're dealing with.
Okay, so thank you. And then the question is, even though we are not San Ramon residents, like my neighbors or Alamo residents, we can still go to San Ramon Fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
good to know.
As a matter of fact, I sit on the board with one of the Kaiser and also with John Muir. And one of the things that we talked about was people trying to get a shot in Contra Costa County, because more people are trying to get vaccinated in our county, which is a great thing, than they have seen in other counties. So one of the people that was with Kaiser went actually to Hayward to get a shot because Alameda County had them readily available, close enough, right? And they live in your area. So just for opportunities as well. But I think more so now it's availability. So keep on it now, because now we are getting more vaccine.
Thank you.
Yeah. And because of the state, you can pretty much, I think, go anywhere now if there's availability and
Absolutely.
they will give you a shot, through
They can't deny you if you show up there and you have an appointment.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Sure.
So Mayor Morgan, no conversation can, we can have no conversation without talking about the RENA numbers in the region. And that's a very tough spot for elected officials, right? Where we don't have as much local control over housing and what we are being asked to build in our communities. And we're constantly struggling with planning that, as well as listening to our residents. I would love to hear your thoughts about it. I know so far Danville's had a very controlled growth, but it's coming at us. And so what are your thoughts? What are you hearing? What do you want to share?
You had to go there, right? Danville's being assigned 2,241 new homes from RENA. Now you tell me when you've driven through Danville where you see 2,241 new homes that will be built here. I don't know about you, but that's about 60 to 70 acres of land that would be needed to accommodate that. They're unrealistic. And the unfortunate part is, as hard as we fight, Sabina, to make sure that we have that local control. Let me back up since Marsha's on here. One of the reasons why we incorporated when we did is to be able to have a general plan, to be able to say, this is how we see the future of our community to be, and this is the guideline that we're going to follow. And we've done that. We've had moderate growth. We've been able, and Danville's pretty much built out. I mean, where are you going to put it? So when you do that, and then you have somebody tell you, no, you're going to have to assign 2,241 new homes in your community. My question is, I throw my hands up and say, where? Where do you see this happening? Where do you see it going? And not only that, but one of the things, there's a shift in the paradigm right now. We have what's the COVID has brought is a modernization of how we do business. So when you think about that, I'm no longer sitting in my office, or I'm no longer commuting to a meeting. I'm sitting at home in front of a Zoom screen talking to people. So that paradigm shift is, I'm no longer putting miles on the road, gas in the car type thing. So that paradigm shift makes it to where I'm working where I'm living. But one of the things that the state has been trying to do is reduce greenhouse initiatives and gas. So you go to San Francisco, you go to Santa Clara County, or any place where possibly any of you work, and you're commuting to that area. So we live here and we commute there. Even though the paradigm shift is different and maybe we reevaluate it when everything's open back up again, but what is that going to look like if we all get back on the roads again? Are we truly reducing the greenhouse gases by building more homes where we are and not where we work? Shouldn't the homes that are being built be in the areas of where people work and where they need the housing to be? That is what their paradigm is. And the other thing that really confuses me is nowhere in there they're stating that they need to build affordable housing. A good example of that is when we built the Riverwalk apartment complex in downtown Danville off Diablo Road. We put 144 units in there because of our RENA numbers that we needed to meet. And out of those 144, only 10 are affordable. Now, you're going to assign me 2,241 and tell me that in Danville it's going to be affordable. So what about the baseline of a studio apartment being 2,200 and a 2-bedroom being about 5,800 a month in rent? Is that affordable? Not in my mind, it's not affordable. So we're not putting that element is what's missing from their entire process of thinking of what they're doing. So if you're going to assign numbers and you truly want it to be affordable, assign it and make it affordable and make those numbers work. 2,241 does not, it doesn't fit. And I don't know where we're going to put them. And then if we don't, you know, you're going to get penalized every year, every month that you don't do it, you will be penalized for not doing it. And it just doesn't work. And so right now it's not etched in stone. You know, we have right now a year of building up into this point and trying to make things different. But I can tell you that it's so concerning to me that this coming Friday, I have a new program called Town Talks, and similar to what you're doing today. And I'm bringing on our town manager, our chief of planning, and our legislative assistant to the town manager, the gal that does all of our legislation. I'm bringing all three of them on to talk about this so that people know, because what happens, Sabina, they show up at our meetings, pitchforks in hand, thinking we want those houses in our community, and they are angry. And on the last housing element we went through, people were angry. They thought the town council is approving these homes and that they want them here. We had no choice. We have no choice. And it's taking away local control as we know it today. And if we want our communities to look like we want to build them out, we've got to fight this. We really do.
So
Can I say something, Sabina?
Sure, Marcia.
Yeah. So I do work for a number of new home builders in the area, region, and the state and United States too. I do environmental sustainable design and feng shui, environmental feng shui. So I'm pretty much very early on get in touch with this kind of situation. The last project in Danville was the McGee Ranch. And that was a while ago, and then I passed by and I see some houses. So it's a no-win situation with neighbors who value open space and not in my backyard kind of thinking. And yet there are so many people who want to move in with affordable kind of situation. And I myself, I couldn't come up with any solutions. I mean, we cannot create more space, right? But with the opposing forces, we have to face reality. We have to, it is what comes up. So I really don't know Danville and Alamo. I mean, in Alamo, we also have very limited space to build. So all the houses go to the fringing area towards more the the outer space. So I will I think it will, for me, I'm looking at both sides. It is a debatable, I mean, it will be a constantly kind of issues that we have to deal with, you know, between open space and affordable housing. So that's all I have, because I have some experience with dealing with the situation, but I'm not like in your case, Mayor. It is certainly something, but we all keep on talking about it. Walnut Creek is doing a good job, you know, but Walnut Creek is different than Danville.
Yeah, and I think one thing, Marcia, I was going to say, so we are obviously, for those who do not know RENA, it's an 8-year cycle where you're allocated through the Bay Area local governments, you know, through the Bay Area, ABAG. You're allocated a certain number of housing. San Ramon has twice the numbers as Danville that we have to build. I think one of the things we've also noticed during COVID is how people are moving to the suburbs. They want that quality of life as well. And the flip side of the coin is that people who are making 6-figure incomes can't find a house right now. So let alone, you know, people who are teachers and city staff. And so I'm of the mindset that we also need to live small. We've lived too large for too long as well. And some of the things we're looking at, ADUs and having, you know, using those to meet our RENA numbers. San Ramon's been planning for, I mean, 5,111 homes is still, I don't know how we can possibly do that. But bringing it all to the core and building small, so that we continue to protect those open spaces. And we're fortunate that we have that. I don't know if Danville, you know, necessarily has that, because you have more of the downtown with the retail and the shops and everything. Whereas, you know, we kind of have all of Bishop Ranch, which is allowing us to plan some of that housing around that. We've been fortunate with the City Walk plan that, you know, a builder has given us a long-term 25-year plan where we can really meet a lot of these numbers through that, which is a very fortunate thing for any city when a developer plans out everything for you, pays for everything, including your parks and stuff. So,
right.
Yeah, it's a constant conversation, as you said, Renee. We're about trending towards, you know, another 5-7 minutes. I would love for anybody else, you know, Dave, Billy, Eva, Sarah, do you have questions for the mayor or anything you want to share?
You know, if I can also, Eva, go ahead. I just wanted to respond.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to make a statement about the COVID vaccine. My whole family is now vaccinated, including my youngest, who's 16. But we all got different ones. She got the Pfizer. We have 2 Modernas and a J&J. So
wow.
Yeah, we didn't hesitate. We just took the first available appointments. And I personally feel like it's our responsibility to protect our families and be part of the protection for our community. So I do think it's an important thing. It's unprecedented. We haven't been in this situation before. And I think what you said about, you know, the uncertainty or being fearful of taking it, it does go through a lot of testing before it gets to availability for us. So I do think that we have to trust the scientists and make the right decision for our community. So I just wanted to say that.
Eva, and such a great point. And, you know, to what you're saying, you know, this, don't take from what my husband and my son think. So they're on the list to get it now. They wish they would have then, okay? Because when I got mine was in January and it was just brand new, just in our area. So, but you're absolutely right. And we all have a part to play in this. And this is something we have not seen something like this, I mean, in modern history. When have we ever sheltered the healthy and the sick? It's just unprecedented. So we have to trust that this is definitely serious and we definitely need to do our part. So I totally agree. And if you don't mind, Sabina, I just kind of wanted to go back to Marcia's point on the, not in my backyard and all that with the RENA. That's the part that I think this time around is not something that we are fighting. It's not about not in my backyard. You mentioned the McGee property. That's 69 homes, just to give you an example. That 69 homes took us almost 8 years to approve that project in Danville. That's how stringent and how things can get. But people also have land use rights. And that's the other part of it. So if you have a piece of property that you want to develop, you have land use rights, and we can't tell you you can't. We have, within the guidelines of what our general plan says and moving forward. The other thing is the ADUs that Sabina mentioned. What a great opportunity. If you have room to build an ADU, I mean, the town of Danville, one of the things that we try to do is streamline it. So now, I'm not sure how San Ramon's doing it, but
Yeah.
we have 3 different plans.
Yep.
That if you go to our website, they're free. You just go on there, they're permit ready, and you pick them, you build them, and it's family friendly homes. It's, sometimes people say, hey, I want to move out of my home so my kids can move in. I'm happy to live in an ADU. Those are things, the trends that are moving forward. You see people that, like you said, that want to live in these areas, but don't want to pay the multi-million-dollar pricing. And they're staying, they want to rent an ADU or, something to that effect. So we all have to do our part, whether it's the vaccine, whether it's, homes and making sure that these things happen. I don't think it's about anymore of not in my backyard or not in your backyard either. I think it's more so of a balance. And I don't object to getting housing numbers assigned, but one shoe size does not fit all. And if you're going to assign San Ramon double the amount that Danville has, and Danville to get assigned that many homes, it's the reality of where are you going to put them, and where are you going to find this land to do that? And it's the reality. It's not about not in my backyard. It's just the reality of it. It just can't be done. We're going to start, pretty soon we're going to have our shopping centers are going to be, put as priority development areas, and it's just not realistic. It's just not realistic.
Yeah, so I think we're all together fighting for that balance. And for me, water keeps coming up more and more now. And I asked the state legislatures and they hadn't thought about it. So I think that's going to be a big.
I remember when you asked that. Right? I remember when you, yes, I do. I remember when you asked that, and they all sat there, I never thought about that. It's like, well, are you kidding? Utilities are a big thing. Where are you going to get it from? We're already dealing with drought situations this year again. So where are you going to get it?
Dave, did you want to share something?
Oh, I would just like to say, so my legal secretary was one of the trial people who actually got the vaccine when they were developing. That was over a year ago. Huh? She's fine today. So I would just encourage everybody to go out and get your vaccine. This wasn't done willy-nilly.
She didn't grow that extra eye up there or anything.
She did not grow an extra eye. She's still the same nice Minnesota girl who worked in my law office, but now lives in New York and has a yoga studio. She's totally fine. Great. My girlfriend as a nurse has had both vaccines. She's doing great. So please go get your vaccine. So
yes, do it for everybody else around you. Exactly. Not just yourself, but for everybody. Yeah, I agree. And I haven't heard from Billy, but Billy's just sitting there very quiet with the bridge behind him and soaking it all in. But I'm, and I don't see who Sarah is. So I'm assuming everybody knows Sarah as well, but so.
Hi, sorry.
Hi,
it's a camera off kind of day.
Oh, that's good. I wish I could have those days.
Yeah. When your life is on Zoom, you start to, it's a thing. But I wanted to piggyback real quick off of what like Dave and everybody else has said regarding the vaccine. I know like there are a lot of people out there that are maybe a little bit vaccine hesitant, and it's fair when you see headlines of like adverse effects and this and that, but we also have to remember that literally hundreds of millions of doses have been administered. And maybe you hear one story here or there, but like hundreds of millions of doses have been fine, and it's been clinically tested, and it's been, it's completely effective and it's amazing. And frankly, I'm just still in so much amazement that we even have a vaccine already. It's just like, hugs and hangouts I can smell them, they're so close. So the quicker we can all get vaccinated, the better. And I'm pretty stoked about it. So I'm glad that you guys all talked about vaccines today. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Sarah, and the thing is I have to tell you, you're talking about the adverse effects. I personally had very bad effects from it. And I'm being very honest with you. I ended up, my first shot, I ended up with a very swollen arm and itchy and all that. And my second dose, I ended up, 8-9 hours later, over 102 fever, chills. I was miserable. But I talked to my doctor and I talked to some of the nurses, and some of them had bad effects as well. But the point is, Sarah, to your point is, it's nothing compared to what COVID is. And it's so, I went through it, I got through it, and I'm fine, right? I mean, I don't know if everybody would think I'm fine, but I personally.
You're so right.
So,
exactly. And the best part is that like this vaccine and all those effects that you experienced, they're all explainable, like the scientists know exactly why you felt that way. And it was actually probably expected. Whereas COVID, we don't even understand that virus still. Like strange things are happening. People are experiencing long-term effects months and months and months after quote unquote recovery that we still can't explain.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I'm really I'm grateful for your transparency, because we shouldn't shy away from talking about our personal experiences with the vaccine, because it's important, to be open and honest with everyone. But like, it's okay. It's part of the process. It's your body building an army, to defend yourself from the vaccine. It's not supposed to be like all rainbows and sunshine, but it's part of the process.
And that's the issue as well. As the doctors told me, that's your immune system, in high gear, because of the fact that, here comes this one invasion, and then 2 weeks, or 4 weeks later, whatever it is, the next invasion comes. They're like, wait a minute, I just got through, putting you aside. Now I got to fight you. So it's your immune system is what I was told as well. I wanted to mention as well as one of the things that I did in the very beginning. My mother passed away over a year ago now from Alzheimer's. And the care facilities have always been a really big thing for me to make sure when I would go visit her at her care facility, there were people in there that, basically had no visitors ever. And it was very heartbreaking for me to see. So I started this thing a few years back where I would collect teddy bears, whether it be for the fire, for the police, for care facilities, or even for, children, homeless children, or children that have to go to court and have to speak because of domestic abuse or whatever, as a comfort, right? And speaking of the care facilities, they're starting to gradually open them back up again. And I have delivered over 800 bears this year. The outpour from people was just phenomenal. These, we have to think, we have family that we're with, and we can give, I can give my son or my husband, I can give somebody a hug. But these people, they couldn't have their family come see them. They couldn't have anybody in there, and the caregivers aren't going to hug them in fear that they're going to catch it as well. So they grabbed onto these bears and were in tears. And that to me is being able to see them, be able to see their families again at the end of their life, and they're not able to have that love and that affection. It is, this whole thing has just been a very heartbreaking situation all around to watch these things happen. Very heartbreaking.
Thank you, Renee, for sharing that.
Yeah.
So amazing.
So Sabina, it would be not like me if I didn't say anything, huh?
Okay.
So Mayor Morgan, thank you again for your input and being here. I've only been in the Bay Area and the San Ramon Valley for about 4 years. So, since coming here, I've kind of become a student. I've always been interested in transit, and obviously coming here, housing is an issue, obviously as well. So I've kind of, being an outsider coming in, just like why are things like they are, and I could talk about it all day long, but it's an interesting issue to me, and like what Sabina said about right sizing and things like that. Because I'll be honest, when I lived in an apartment over in the Doherty Valley, and I was driving around and I looked at some of the houses, and I'm like, oh, there's only one unit in there? I thought that was like 4. So those are some of the things I think about. And one of the other things, Sarah joined our communications group, and recently on the San Ramon TAC, we had a young woman who just graduated from college, came back to San Ramon, Miranda Shakes. So it's like
Oh my
I
God,
love
I
to
know
see.
her.
I figured you did.
That's so crazy. Sorry.
I was going to ask you. Go ahead.
We went to high school together.
I figured.
Yeah.
I wanted to text you and ask you, but yeah, I'm just like people like Miranda and Sarah. I watch in San Ramon as we go through the issues, getting things approved and who's objecting. And I'm in my early 40s, and something like City Walk, I might not see the end of it. So I like to see people like Sarah and Miranda and more people in that generation get involved and see what they want the future of their communities to look like, rather than us that are getting a little long in the tooth dictating to them. But thank you once again.
Very, very important to have a youth commission. Very important to get people that are of the younger generation involved in your commissions, whether it be parks or as you're on in transit, because those are the people that are going to give you more of the input of what the future looks like and what they want. One of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm working with all of our commissions to get feedback on the RENA numbers and what they see. I mean, I have my opinion, you have yours, your age group, my age group, Sarah's age group. We all have our thoughts on what we think, but we need to have a group thought of what that looks like and where we're going with those numbers and what housing looks like, in 20 years from now, because it's not our area, like you said. In 20 years from now, I'm sure I won't be doing what I'm doing. I mean, I'm saying that now, but you know how it works. But anyways, and hopefully I'm going to be enjoying more time with my grandchildren at that point, and they'll be grown by then. But it's important to me to hear from the younger generation as well as the teens. They have a mindset of what they see things to be as well. So, I don't want Danville to be looked at as an area of, oh, Danville, you can't afford Danville, and oh, you've heard about Danville. We've got a great community. It's a vibrant community. It's a community that has diverse levels of income, of people, and just like San Ramon. But we're a smaller community, so that's the reason why it's more difficult for us than like Doherty Valley, where you're mentioning the apartments and all that. What a great area to be able to integrate multifamily housing as well as single family housing. And to your point as well about more than one family in there, one of the reasons why the schools were so overcrowded at that point in time, when they first started building that, is because more than one family or people that had more than one family would move into those homes. And so rather than the 2 1/4, child that they had, children that they had anticipated going to the schools, they ended up having double that. So we ended up having to build more schools and accommodate that. We're just now at the levels where we're supposed to be. So, those are all a balancing act. The thing is, Billy, is people, I don't know where you moved from, but I can tell you that people don't understand, and Sabina started it off by talking about traffics. People don't understand the so many little parts that go into making a town or a community or a city run smoothly. And there's so many little pieces.
Oh, absolutely not. And it's like I did Government 101 with San Ramon, some great programs, and Dave and I actually did that together. That's where we met, and we're the first to say that people do not understand the nuance and the complication of local governance whatsoever.
Absolutely. And it's people like you and Dave that when after you've completed something like that, you can advocate in a productive way and not be, you'll be part of the solution, right? And not part of the problem. And that's what we all need to do, is to say, what can I do? Because I don't agree with this. It doesn't mean you have to go out and be a part of a problem. It means, hey, look, I don't agree with this, but I want to ask you, what do I need to do to not have this happen? Or what can I do to help you to prevent this from happening or to make this happen? Most people think that it's us against them, and it's not. It's a matter of us with you. We're here for you. That's what it's all about.
Thank you, Renee. I really do appreciate you joining today and, you know, answering some of the tough questions, but these are the conversations we have. And kind of my goal is, right, how do we bring them out where we're able to have these conversations and people understand what we're talking about? I do want to give Dave a second to talk about the Arts Foundation event, if you would like, you know,
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the San Ramon Arts Foundation has been doing these virtual film clubs since we can't go into theaters right now. Our second event is on Tuesday, March 30th at 6 p.m. We're going to be talking about the film Loving Vincent, which you can access via Canopy if you have a Contra Costa library card. And we're going to be talking with a professor who's written 5 books on Vincent van Gogh. So if you want to sign up, go to sanramonarts.org, or you can just ping me at dao1282@gmail, and I'll make sure you get signed up. And if you like that event, the third event is with one of our guests here. Marcia will be talking about the farewell on April 25th. So, so if you want to get a sense of it, show up on Tuesday, and then wait for the best Marcia when she talks about the farewell with us.
Well, I would love to have all of you as our guests together with Dave.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're just going to let you talk, Marcia. We're going to try to be on the invisible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What a great, and how awesome that you guys are doing this. For me, our library opens back up, I think, on the 16th of April. And some of our other buildings are, gradually opening back up, front counters and things like that. We do the arts around town and our hearts on hearts and our dogs and all this stuff. I just so miss that interaction and being able to go to events and art shows and all that. So I'm looking forward to being able to do it in person as well and meeting all of you in person, not just virtually.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. We're hoping by May we'll have everybody vaccinated and we can start doing some of this at our local businesses and in person. So absolutely. Looking forward to that.
Yes. I mean, our 4th of July parade with the Kiwanis, it's like, come on. That's so
Is it
much
happening?
fun. No,
Renee?
Not at this point in time.
No.
Not at this point in time. I mean, they're hoping to have 1 million vaccinated by July 4th, but we get about 40,000 people that show up to that parade. So
Yeah. We decided not to have the Art and Win Festival this year either.
Yes.
So one more year and hopefully, we'll all be together.
And I love doing that. I love going to the Arts and Win. That is such a fun festival. Such a fun festival. What a bummer.
Yeah. And again, thank you so much for joining. I know some of us go and, start on the Iron Horse Trail in San Ramon, bike over to Danville, grab a cup of coffee. So, our cities are so connected.
Yeah. I mean, come down. There's like a new barbecue place that just opened up. I mean, amongst COVID, we have businesses that are opening. Hooray. And you guys as well. So come down. I mean, Hazy Barbecue just opened up and they're, it's fun. And I mean, we've all done so much for our businesses, and just to make sure that they stay afloat, it's, everybody's doing their part on that as well. But yeah, please come to Danville. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm in San Ramon a lot. My favorite pho place is over there. So
thank you.
And Phil's Coffee is opening up tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Wow. There might be a line out the door, but we're all excited for that.
Wonderful.
We stole it from Danville, but not to
oh, well, it's okay. The thing is let somebody else, weed out the things first and then bring it to your place in perfection, right? That's what it's all about. I mean,
that's a very collaborative attitude. I love it.
That's what it's all about. And the thing is I'm still waiting for the Vietnamese food to come to Danville because I have to go. Definitely, I have to go
Yeah.
to Marketplace and all that to get some really good pho and all that. So, we're all working together on this. We're all in this together. I mean, there's not a fence between us. It's just a small little border.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. My goodness.
Well, I have to say, coming from Alamo, we are all good customers. So we have to shop in Danville and San Ramon. Sabina, is the lot going to open soon?
I have to find out. I haven't gotten an
please.
update there yet.
As you know, we have a huge, a big gift card still to be used in the lot. I hope they are not. They are not closing, are they? They should be.
I haven't heard yet. So
Okay, good to know. Maybe see
That's
you at the
a politician's way of saying, I have answers, but I'm really not sure, but I'm not going to answer you right now.
Yeah, I'm a desperate consumer. I have a huge gift card.
thank you. We're right. I know we went a little bit over, but I want to thank you. And I just wanted to close it in memory of one of our other elected officials, Catherine Koo. She was the trustee for the Dublin School Board, and she lost her life to an unfortunate accident this past week. Just want to remember what an amazing person that she was, what an unfortunate incident that she lost her life to while serving meals at the Dublin school. So just, wanted to close in her memory and say thank you so much to everybody.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And I hope to see you on Friday on Town Talks with Danville. We'll be talking about the RENA numbers. So I hope to see everybody then.
Wonderful.
Thank you. See you guys.
So nice
All
to
right.
meet you, Mayor Morgan.
Nice
Thank you all.
Nice to see all of you. I didn't get to meet you, Sarah, but I get to see your name and hear your voice. So
Hold
nice
on.
She's going to show us
Oh,
herself.
okay, Sarah.
Let me get my hair all put together.
That's a girl. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi,
You look
Sarah.
fine.
Oh my gosh, and she's worried about how she looks. Look at
I know, right?
Gorgeous.
It's like a combination of Zoom burnout and multitasking and like wanting to present my best self for you all, but this
You
face to
look
face is very
wonderful.
important. So
You
thank
look
you.
Wow.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
You as well.
Nice meeting
I hope
you
that one day
all.
we'll be face to face. Thank you all so much.
I hope so too.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you, Sabina. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, Renee.
Bye.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you,
Thank
Sabina.
you.